This presentation contains material derived from an article written for the National Association of School Psychologists. It has been modified and narrated by Jessica Martin, Director of Special Education and Student Services for the Rural Virtual Academy. We have all heard the statistic that nearly 50% of marriages end in divorce. Children are often caught in the middle. Fortunately, around 80% of children from divorced households go on to be well-adjusted, successful adults. But what about the other 20%? These children can go on to experience significant social and psychological difficulties that can significantly interfere with their lives. As adults, these people are twice as likely to experience substance abuse, mental illness, and relationship problems. Warning signs of coping difficulties for children are problems eating, problems sleeping, increased anger or sadness, fears, or regression. Understanding these risk factors can help caregivers tune in to their child's difficulties and get them the support as soon as possible, so that problems do not become long-lasting and have larger impacts on their adult life. The most important things that caregivers and concerned family members can do is try to control some of the risks and protections the child has regarding the divorce. Children are by nature quite resilient, but how caregivers respond during this difficult time can have a large impact. The more parents can work together in these areas, even if they are not getting along in any other sense, the more their child has a chance of handling their new family constellation better. There are a number of key risks and protections I will discuss. The first is conflict between parents. There's usually some conflict, or the divorce would not be happening to begin with. Although it can be difficult to keep a handle on emotions during this time, witnessing conflict can be especially confusing for the child, as they love both parents and are often torn in their loyalties to each parent. Try to shield the child from as much conflict as is possible. Put your children first and attempt to have discussions without them around. Be especially careful not to say negative things about the other parent in front of the child. To a child, it can actually feel like a direct insult to them. Another key risk is turning children into little adults. With the stress of being a single parent, putting increased responsibility in the home on the child is what often results. This can be positive, as often children of divorce have increased independence and responsibility, but it can be problematic when more is put on the child than they are developmentally prepared for. This can be emotional and physical. Sometimes one parent leans on the oldest child for emotional support during times of conflict, which can be difficult for the child to fulfill such an adult role without feelings of inadequacy and failure. Parents can help by keeping responsibilities to a minimum and keeping connected with other adults to fulfill their emotional support needs. Parenting style, depending on the type, can either be a risk or a protection. Some parents are very warm and caring in their interactions with their children, but the relationship almost seems like a friendship to outsiders. This is often called indulgent parenting. This type of parenting is devoid of limit setting and boundaries for children, where rules and structure are not enforced. This type of parenting can cause children to not have good self-control and can lead to aggressive or impulsive behavior. Other parents have very harsh rules that they adhere to, and often the home environment lacks warmth and respect for the children. This is often authoritarian. Children raised this way may be angry, defiant, and dishonest when dealing with others in later life. Neglectful parenting is a style by which the parent is uninvolved in their child's upbringing. This type of parent is often undemanding and does not set limits or boundaries for the child. The child's needs and emotions are often dismissed and disregarded. Children raised in this way often realize that they have to take care of themselves and develop a maturity that is out of the normal range. Often later in life and in relationships, a person who was raised by a neglectful parent can become emotionally withdrawn from social situations. It can also be delinquency and truancy in adolescence. The most protective parenting style is one where there are rules, structure, and clear expectations for behavior. This style is called authoritative. This style results in the most well-adjusted children in general. Parents who use this style are not afraid to back up their expectations with discipline that is fair and consistent. This style of raising a child is probably the most powerful protection against the risks associated with divorce. the extent that each parent uses this style, the child will fare that much better. A substantial factor in how a child will react to a divorce has to do with the risk factors and protections within the child before the divorce occurred. Children who were resilient and emotionally secure before the divorce tend to bring those qualities forward as protective factors during the divorce. Children who struggled with behavioral, emotional, learning, or mental health problems before the divorce are likely to continue to struggle with these problems, perhaps more intensely than before the divorce. These are risk factors for the child's well-being and for healthy development. Young children often do not fully understand what is happening when a divorce happens. They may have worries about who will take care of them, have concerns about being abandoned entirely, or fantasize about their parents getting back together. Parents should do whatever they can to assure the child that the divorce is not their fault and let them know they are loved and will be taken care of. Older children are especially vulnerable to other risk factors surrounding a divorce. The group of friends they have at the time can either be very positive or negative in terms of how their behavior will be during and after a divorce. Girls who develop early on and are from divorced families may be more at risk for early sexual activity. Adolescents continue to need discipline, structure, and respect from their parents. Other positive adults such as teachers, coaches, mentors, and family friends can also provide protective support. So what happens after divorce? Roughly 60% of parents remarry within 6 years of getting a divorce. While this can increase the standard of living for the family and provide a two-parent household again, about 60% of these marriages also end in divorce. Blended families can be difficult to manage, and step parenting is not easy. Often there is conflict about how to raise children and about all the members of the family getting along. This can cause stress on the couple and is why many of these marriages are not successful. Determining an agreed-upon parenting and discipline style for the children is a sign of healthy remarriage. Divorce is tough on the whole family, especially the children. Reducing risk factors and increasing protective factors is crucial in minimizing the emotional problems that children can suffer as a result of divorce. Children from divorced families can and do grow up to be successful, happy adults with affectionate, firm, and consistent parenting. If you need support, ask others around you and don't hesitate to reach out to the caring professionals in the RVA. The more positive role models in your child's life, the better.